The Flight Attendant. You guys read this book? I haven't. I'm probably not going to, but got made into a TV show on HBO Max, and guess who's the lead actress? Kaley Cuoco. Now, I've always been fascinated by her as a actress just because she does really good on The Big Bang Theory. I haven't seen her in anything else that really made me go, I like her, but I've always just known she could do it. Like, she always was somebody to me that had that potential to go, like, I can do any role that's given to me, comedy or serious, and I think this show proves it. So, we're going to be talking about the first episode of The Flight Attendant. If this does well and a lot of people watch it, I might come back and talk about the other episodes just because I don't know if I have the time, but if I can have enough people interested in this, I will talk about some more. But I think the show is really fun. So the first 3 episodes came out. I only watched the first one because I was like, am I going to want to get into The Flight Attendant? It's like an 8-episode miniseries. And I'll say this, it's really fun. Like, it's just a really intriguing idea, and I have to commend Kaley Cuoco for her performance in this show. She is an actress. Like, oh my god, some of the stuff she's doing or working on in this show is incredible. She's doing such a great and fantastic job with all that. So the main premise of this show is Kaley Cuoco plays this flight attendant, and she is kind of just like this kind of more promiscuous woman. And as she's on a flight one day, she meets this wealthy man. His name is Alex, and they're kind of hitting it off a little bit. They're kind of just, flirting a little, having a good time. But when they dock in Dubai, that's where they go to the Dubai, they meet up after the flight. They have a few drinks, they hang out a bit, they go to bed. And the next morning, Kaley Cuoco wakes up to see that the man has been killed and his throat was slit, and she starts to panic and freak out. So the rest of the episode is her trying to do a couple things, figure out what happened during that night that got her there, and also kind of figure out how she is going to not be framed for the murder, because the crux is that she didn't kill him. At least we don't think she did. I haven't read the book, so I don't know. But it's presented as like she didn't kill him. And this is where I'm like, her acting is so good, because in every scene she is doing so many interesting and fantastic things. She is playing panicked very well, just the way she reacts to every situation when she's frightened or she's startled by somebody approaching her. It's really realistic and interesting. She's doing a great job of doing the drunk acting, because there's a lot of alcohol intake in this show. And I think you could watch this and see it should be a warning for alcoholism, and I think maybe it will be, but it's just the way she's presenting herself. I'm like, I wasn't expecting this from you. I thought you could get there, but now I'm seeing that you can, and I'm very impressed with it. It's just unbelievable to see what she can do in this. So unique to see her in a performance like this, because we haven't really seen her branch out from other kind of comedy stuff, but this is a dark comedy. It does take jokes in different directions that are really dark and creepy, but at the same time too, the show is very stylized. It's I don't know if anybody here has seen Why Women Kill, that came out I think last year, but it's got that kind of classic Catch Me If You Can comic booky feel where everything's just bright and creepy. We see 2 scenes happening simultaneously, whether somebody's on the phone with somebody or whether or not the police find the body. We see Kaley Cuoco is on the flight and the police are searching the hotel room or that kind of stuff. Scenes are happening simultaneously. That's why it's got kind of that comic booky feel where the panels are laid out next to each other. I think that's a really cool idea. It just added that next thing. Is yeah, it's dark, it's creepy, it's about alcohol and all that, but it's also kind of fun. You can kind of have a smile on your face because you're there's some really cool set pieces, there's some really cool music in play here, and I think it's a really fascinating, interesting story. Just something very intricate that I'm very excited to see going forward. Because as the story progresses, she thinks that she covered up her tracks pretty well, but then the idea is well, maybe you covered them up too well, You tried to show people you weren't at the hotel at that time. You lied to your coworkers that you weren't there. You covered up, your side of the bed and all the blood that could have been from you after you stepped on some glass. So you're trying to make it look like you were never there, and maybe that could work against you, because then it looks like you have something to hide, which I think is very fascinating. Now, like I said, I don't know a lot about the story or the characters in it, but we see a lot of things introduced. We see her brother as a character. I'm wondering how he's going to play into the story going forward. Same with her best friend, who's a lawyer. So that's a great juxtaposition for her doing the crime and have somebody that could put her away for it. I think all that stuff is really cool and really fun. It's just so unique. Like I said, it's just such a different kind of story than what we've seen before. I thought that was really cool to see. So like the murder, she's trying to figure out how she can get away from this. And at the same time too, as her world's kind of crumbling around her, she like goes inside of her own mind sometimes, and she's talking to the dead body of this Alex guy. And he's like, I don't know, I was like just as drunk as you, and I'm trying to help you solve the clues here. So if you wanted more like intention to see that it's not supposed to be taken super seriously, it's a dark comedy about trying to solve this murder while she might be framed for it. That's something you could look at too. She's literally going inside her mind and talking to the guy whose throat is slit. I think it's just really cool stuff. It's just, Kaley is just so good in this. So impressive. There are scenes where she's just like stumbling around a hotel lobby or like a hotel floor, and she's trying to like figure out how to stay calm, but she's just like freaking out all the time. She's like, do I go hang out with this guy? Do I just leave and do this? She's just drinking. She drinks so much in this, and it's just like, that's some really good acting, because it looks believable. Like somebody who's so depressed and frightened at themselves that this is how they're acting. I think that is really cool. Really interesting stuff. Rosie Perez is in this. I love her. I like her a lot. So seeing her in this, I'm like, that's awesome. She's kind of like the I guess like the top flight attendant lady that works on the plane, kind of like the boss of them, but she's not like the actual boss, but she's just kind of like the most mature out of all the flight attendants, and I think it's pretty cool. She's very motherly, which I like to see. Come on, it's Rosie Perez. You gotta love her and everything she does. And she tries to help. I think her name was it Cassie. I can't remember. Cassie Bowden, I think was her name. It might be Cassandra. I can't remember. But we just see that she's trying to help her. Just be like, hey, I know you've probably had a long night. We all know you drink a lot, so I'd like to help you and just get you some food or something. But of course, Kaley's character is just freaking out all the time. And I think it's just such a good, interesting premise. And that's what I really liked about this episode, was it felt like, here's the initial like incident. Here's a lot of fun stuff that's going to come down later. We're setting up a lot of cool things that people are going to enjoy seeing. So it's just like a nice feeling like that, And we do end the episode where we are kind of seeing, oh, the FBI is involved now because it is a murder. He's a wealthy guy. He does a lot of dealings. I think they said in China he did a lot of dealings. And now people are trying to get involved and see what happens. So they do interrogate the entire flight attendant crew. And of course, they're all like, yeah, I mean, Kaley's character kind of talked to them more, and just they talked about books, and they might have hooked up in the airplane. It's kind of explicit to say, and when we get there, Kaley's just kind of freaking out. She doesn't really know what to say, because you can kind of tell people think she is connected to what happened to him, but they don't explicitly say that. So it's just kind of fun to see how that's playing out and all that. It's just a really fun show. And I think a lot of people could see this being something that they just want a nice, interesting, different take on a comedy that could really make you think and feel stuff. Like, it's just really different than what you might be expecting. And I highly recommend people check it out. Like, it's on HBO Max, or if you're here in Canada, it's on Crave. It's just like a different kind of story that I'm very excited about. I really wanted to watch like a murder mystery thing. So having this in here now, I'm kind of like, this is going to be fun. And Kaley is acting her ass off. Now, this was kind of more of like a non-spoiler review. So if we go further on down the line, and I do decide we're going to do more of these reviews for the flight attendant, we'll probably get more into some of the spoiler moments and that kind of stuff. But this is just kind of me saying, hey, after watching one episode, I think you all should watch the flight attendant. So I'm going to give this pilot episode, no pun intended, a 7 out of 10. Now, thank you guys so much for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, all that good stuff. And I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck. Tsunami Studios.